Okay, so, this is my first YouTube video. Honestly, I don't know how to edit or anything like that, so fucking, I'm just gonna go for it. Okay, let me start off by saying this video has been a fucking bitch to make and upload, so y'all is lucky I actually fucking stuck to it, because I ain't a bitch like that. So, I am going to talk about the time that I was invited on the Dr. Phil show. So weird. So, a little backstory. When I was in grade 8, someone really close to me became homeless. And I mean homeless as in literally homeless. Like, no food, no house, no nothing. Literally living on the streets. And I was really close with this person growing up because this person contributed to making me, if that gives you any hints as to who it might be. But anyway, so, yeah, they were homeless. And when I was in grade 10, it really sucked. Because I'm an only child. It was a weird thing to talk about, like, oh, like, hey, like, this person is homeless, like what the fuck, like, I don't know. It's a weird situation. So, one night, I, wrote into the Dr. Phil show, and honestly, I didn't think they would choose me, obviously. So when you write into the show, there's a little box that you can click whether you want to be on the show or not. So they still do give people help that don't go on the show. And I just left it because I was like, I don't know, like, fucking, I don't know. So, yeah, so I wrote into the show, and a couple days later, I get this call from this girl named Julie or Julia, something like that. She goes, hey, like, I'm the executive producer of the Dr. Phil show, like, me and Dr. Phil read your letter, which I think is, like, bullshit. It was probably just some random bitch in their office, but, we read your letter, and we want to do an entire show on this. And I was like, shit. Like, fuck. I'm like, oh, well, okay, like, if you want. And so she was like, okay, so the first thing you need to do is send me pictures of you and everyone involved. And I was like, alright. So I did, and she was fucking loving it, because I was sending her pictures of, like, me growing up and me being so happy and all this bullshit. She loved that shit. And yeah, so whatever. And then, so I did that, and she said, okay, like, now the next thing you need to do is tell all the people involved that you are doing this. And I was like, well, okay, but I don't know if it's gonna really work. But I did it anyways. So the first person I told was my mom, and she was like, you're a crazy bitch. I'm not fucking doing that. You're not doing that. You're not, like, no, it's not happening. I was like, okay, kind of expect that. So then, the actual person that was involved, I took out to dinner, and I told them, I was like, listen, I wrote into Dr. Phil, and they fucking responded, so that means this is a problem, and we need to fix it. So they were like I expected them to be, but they were like, yeah, I ain't fucking doing that shit. And I was like, okay, like, fair. I didn't really want to either, honestly, but I also didn't think Dr. Phil was actually gonna reply to me, but I still tried. And they were like, yeah, like, I'm not doing that shit. And I was like, I feel you. So I just decided to ignore the producer at this point, because I was like, okay, well, they're not gonna get a story, like, I don't know. So she called me, and she asked me, like, how it went and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, listen, like, my family ain't gonna do it. And she was like, fucking why? And I was like, well, I don't know, like, they don't really, like, they're not really comfortable going on national television. We're from a really small city, like, everyone would know, blah, blah, blah. This bitch, deadass, says to me, it's really frustrating that you're bailing because I have a show to produce, and I picked you specifically so we could make a show. And I was like, okay, bitch, true, but this huge problem in my life is not just a show. It's not just for entertainment. Like, this is actual shit that is happening to me and my family. So for you to sit there and say, I need to make a show, I need to make a check, like, fuck you. And so I pretty much, like, told her off, and I was like, listen, like, this is my real life. Like, I don't give a fuck if you just are trying to get paid. Like, that's not, no. Like, that ain't gonna work for me. You ain't go talk to me like that. And so, yeah, so I was kind of just like, fuck you, bitch, like, no. And she was like, well, like, you know, like, we picked you, you shouldn't have wrote into the show if you didn't want to get picked, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, bitch, but, like, no one ever expects to get picked for the show, honestly. No one does, because there's so many people that write in, and there's so many other people with bigger problems than, you know, the person sitting next to you. So it's just like, bitch, I didn't know I was gonna get picked. Why you gonna yell at me? Like, ugh, stupid. So, yeah, so that bitch was just a bitch. And I obviously ended up not going. And, it was weird because, I mean, obviously TV isn't always real, but, you know, they try to make it so authentic, but it's obviously fucking not. So, the moral of the story is Dr. Phil and all of his producers are a bunch of bitches. No, not actually. I really like that show, but, like, fuck them. Like, what the fuck? But in all honesty, if they would have let me on their show, I would have been the fucking first Catch Me Outside girl, because I'm loud and, like, whatever, and just, like, yeah. So, in all honesty, I'm really glad we never went, because I don't think, they've never had a show like that, and I don't think that the people of Hollywood and all those bitches would have really been able to understand, like, this isn't just, like, oh my god, like, give me sympathy. No, like, this is an actual, like, problem, and I want to help this person. So, yeah. So, that was the story about how I was invited on the Dr. Phil show and didn't go because they're a bunch of bitches. So, yeah. So, another story I'm going to talk about is the first time I ever, I guess, got involved with the police or had police talk to me. So, it was in elementary school. I don't remember exactly what grade, but it was grade either 2, 3, or 4. But yeah, so, I'm not gonna mention this girl's name because I didn't ask her and I just don't want to. I don't really think she would care, but anyway, so when I was in elementary, I had this best friend, and she lived, like, a couple blocks away from me. And she always used to babysit these kids, and I don't remember if these kids lived in this house or not, but yeah. So anyways, one of her other neighbors had a trampoline, and us being broke ass bitches didn't have a trampoline, and we wanted to jump on the trampoline, so we would always go over there and, you know, fucking jump on it and shit. I don't know. So one day when we were over there with these kids that she was babysitting, we were jumping on the trampoline, and the trampoline had a hole in it, like on the edge or whatever. And when we were jumping on it, the hole was getting bigger, and we were like, eh. So, the kid that we were babysitting, honestly, this is kind of, like, really hard to tell because I don't really remember every single part of it, but the kid we were babysitting ended up with a fucking knife, and this kid wasn't, like, 2 or 3, like, he was, like, not that much younger than us, so it's not like he was just gonna, like, run around and accidentally stab himself, so we were like, whatever, he has this knife, cool. And so he came over to the trampoline, and, all of a sudden, he just started cutting it, like, literally just stabbing the trampoline and, like, cutting it and shit, and we were kind of just like, okay, and then and then he handed the knife over, and me and my friend just, I don't know why. I have no idea why, but we just started cutting up the trampoline. For no reason, honestly. And so, yeah. So then we were like, oh, haha, like, whatever. And then we left it. And then so, like, within, I guess, that day or the next day, they went and they told this girl and her parents that we had done this. They were like, hey, like, what the fuck? There's a bunch of cuts in our trampoline. Like, what did you do? And we were like, I don't know. And so me and this girl had to go to their house and apologize, of course, and they were the reason why the police are involved is because they were going to charge us at first, but since we said sorry, they weren't going to. So when we went to apologize, personally, I remember not giving a fuck. Like, I was like, I don't really care. Like, I saw the trampoline at Walmart. It's $100. Like, you're fine. You are an adult. You can afford to get a new one. I don't really care. But I went there and I said sorry anyways. And it took me a while to go and say sorry to these people because I literally didn't care. And that's why they were talking about charging me. Charging me in elementary. But they of course could have charged me with vandalism because it's destruction to something that is not mine. So I couldn't tell you why I wanted to do it, but I just did. And so yeah, but then afterwards they were like, oh, it's fine, you apologize, whatever. But so yeah, that was the first time I ever, I guess, got involved with the police, I guess. I have a bigger story, like the biggest time I ever got in trouble with the police, where I like literally got in trouble. But that is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I made you laugh. I hope you were like, what the fuck, this bitch is crazy. But so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I really fucking hope I can upload this because this has been a fucking bitch. And since it's been so hard, y'all better like this video. Okay, see y'all some other time.